Hey, I just started gardening about a year and a half ago. I wanted to build this wonderful flower garden. And as it began to grow and there were these beautiful flowers, I just was in love with my flowers and they were so pretty. And every time I would drive home, I'd sit in the driveway and just ponder how beautiful they were. Well, remember, I was a novice gardener. A couple of houses down from me is a woman who is an absolute horticultural savant. And so she gives me free advice, which I am only too delighted to embrace. One of the things that I couldn't figure out is that every time I walked past her house, and she has this very lush, beautiful garden, her yard waste bin was completely full. And I couldn't figure out where all that came from because her garden never seemed to get any smaller. And as I spoke to her, one of the things that she has said to me time and time again about my own garden when I have problems and this is looking leggy or that isn't growing or this looks wrong, she always says the same thing to me: prune, prune ruthlessly, cut it all the way back, it'll grow back nicer. Now, as a new gardener, I look at all those beautiful plants and flowers, and it feels like cutting off my arm or killing my dog to cut down my flowers and prune them. But I have finally started to take her advice. And as I ruthlessly prune, I discover that my flower garden grows lusher and more beautiful and more full. Now, what in the world does this have to do with business or strategy? Well, startups have this very, very high class problem. They see opportunities everywhere, and opportunities are like, they're like honey to Winnie the Pooh, right? Startup founders cannot hardly resist the single smallest opportunity because every opportunity could lead to a perfect monetization strategy that could be the ticket to a series A, B, C, and an IPO. So opportunities are like gems. You hold on to them forever. Here's the problem. Opportunities proliferate and they're constantly showing up. And what happens, and this happens to a number of my client companies, is that they end up with virtually an unmanageable number of projects and prospective new monetization schemes, new possible verticals. First, they're B2B, then they're B2 public sector, then they're B2C. All of these things are great possibilities, but you can't do all of them. That's sort of the problem in life. It's the problem in writing. It's the problem in strategy. And it's the problem in gardening. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. And distinguishing what you're going to do is the hard part of strategy, because making a choice in favor of one thing means choosing against another. And that against another part is viscerally painful. It means letting go of an opportunity and potentially killing a possibility. Another arena where we see this is with writing and editing. Writers are told whenever they're in a writing class to do something called kill your darlings. And that's the same kind of thing, because as you write, you get super attached to this word or that turn of phrase or this metaphor or that simile. And if they don't actually allow the strategy of the piece you're writing, whether it's a book, a paragraph, an essay, an op-ed piece, a blog post, it doesn't really matter. The goal is to have that piece of writing be as crystal clear, as sharp, as compelling, as communicative as it can be. And if that turn of phrase, however beautiful it may be, doesn't accomplish that goal, you need to kill it off, strike it out, delete it, and that hurts. So if you're a founder of a startup or a leader in any organization and you're developing strategy, start with a limit on how many initiatives you can possibly handle masterfully, a limit on how many specific strategic themes you can manage masterfully. Now, here's the reality. Whatever you think you can manage, reduce it, because the odds are you're estimating too generously. You need to cut back, cut way back. Now, you may find out that you have extra capability. By the way, I doubt it, but you might. There might be slack in your process. And if so, you can always go back and grab one of those initiatives. The other thing you can do is you can earmark those possibilities for a future time. Go back and look at them again in a year when you look at strategy. Look at them in a quarter and see if one of your tries failed, and now you can embrace another one. But unless you find a way to ruthlessly prune, to create a less is more strategy, you will be pulled in too many directions. Everything will be done less than masterfully, and you will ultimately fail at succeeding in your top line goals, which is to build shareholder value, create equity, build revenue, and ultimately raise the next round and get to your eventual full unicorn status or beyond. I hope this has been helpful. Please subscribe to my channel below. Also, if you go to my website, beyondbetter.io, you can subscribe to the blog that accompanies these videos, and the blog goes into more detail. It has citations and references that you can read. It has clear examples that you can consider and read. And that's it. I'll talk to you soon.